Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. And today we're talking Week 6 in the NFL. We're going to run down the Sunday games for you right now. A bunch of good action as always in the NFL, but we finally had some bye weeks this week, so it was interesting trying to set my lineups this morning because of all the ridiculous amount of leagues we have for the relegation leagues. A lot of buys. Injuries are starting to pile up. It's getting to be a crazy time of the year always, but can't believe we're already through 6 weeks now, basically, which is, it's moving. Start making some deals, try to get yourself set up for playoff run already, even though I guess we have like 8 weeks, but still, hey, never too early, right? Or sometimes people are already out of it. Jeff, how are you feeling in our main league? Not good.
I'm feeling bad. I laughed because I was like, okay, Russell Wilson was hurt. Dalvin Cook has been playing a whole lot. Okay, I can move some stuff around. We can make a run at it. And I'm just getting lambasted every week. It feels like someone's setting a record against me.
Right.
And, but no, I mean, whatever. Your brother sold. So basically all I'm doing is trying to get a couple of wins and then set myself up for next year. There's just nothing I can do. But I got Tony on the waivers. It's a keeper league. There's a lot more that goes into it. But yeah, it's always rough when you just realize, hey, I don't have the talent right now. Injuries hit me. And, you look around too, and like, I know we have East West, and I'm sure a lot of people figured it out like this, but you can look at one team, and there's one in particular in our league where I'm like, I can't compete against that in a 2-week playoff. So, either I go all in and try to, build my team back up, or, I take the gentlemanly route and sell off pieces. So next year I can actually compete.
I have one of my teams. You don't know which one it is, but I know I had the first pick in that draft. I drafted McCaffrey. Later on, got Russell Wilson as my quarterback. Oh, but before that, I also got Dobbins and ETN as my running backs. So,
yeah, dude, injuries have been
that one's going great. All right, let's talk about some Week 6 action here. I'll start off the London game. We had another London game, 9:30 a.m. for us football, which is always fun. Jacksonville, Miami. Jacksonville gets their first win with a last-second field goal. Solid. I mean, hey, they get a win. It's great, right? Some solid performances actually too on their team this time. Trevor Lawrence, one of his better games, I would say I've seen him play so far. He's starting to show a little bit of something, right? 319 yards, got himself a touchdown. So, pretty decent there. James Robinson continues to, play well. What can I say? He's playing well. 17 carries, 73 yards, got himself a touchdown again too, caught 3 balls for 28. And then Marvin Jones stepped up in this one, 7 for 100 and a touchdown. Geez, I'm just seeing Lions here. Jamal Agnew, it doesn't mean it's a bad team still, but remember Jamal Agnew, they're actually using him a little bit here. 5 catches, 78 yards. No, 6 for 54. So I guess just a solid day for Jacksonville. Get some win.
You know what? They did okay. And get their first win, get off the schneid. And hopefully this is, I still don't think anyone but James Robinson is worthy of a start on this team.
No, definitely not.
But in saying that, I just want to earmark this one episode. So I have Craig on record saying at least one nice thing about James Robinson, even if it was, he's playing well.
He's playing fine. I wish ATN was here, but he's playing fine.
God. Yeah. Don't get me started.
But solid day for Jacksonville. I mean, I guess they're a bad team, but you still got fantasy options. You're still going to use James. If you have James Robinson, you're playing him most likely. Marvin Jones, he's that with bye weeks. He's a guy who can be played. Jacksonville will be on bye next week, I believe. I think teams that go to London have the bye the next week, so they'll be on a bye. But other than that, Marvin Jones he's out there as a wide receiver 3 type player. If you're desperate in a week. Dolphins side of things, Tua comes back in this one, and actually had a decent game overall. 33-47, 329, 2 touchdowns. He did throw a pick. Next week he gets the Falcons, which he could be a streaming option. But so Tua was decent. Mike Gesicki's been playing very well lately. 8 catches, 115 yards in this one. Jalen Waddle, 10 catches, 70 yards. He's just he has these old Jarvis Landry stat lines that Landry used to do. Bunch of catches, a little yards, but he had 2 touchdowns in this one. So it was a really good game in that regard for him. The running game, Myles Gaskin, don't use that guy. I don't care. Last week fooled so many people. Like they finally stopped using Gaskin, right? Gaskin was not in lineups anymore. And he goes and catches 2 touchdowns. Goes and catches 2. And everyone's like, oh, Myles Gaskin back in your lineup. Look at he get you 5 carries for 9 yards. He caught 2 balls for 5 yards. He did still have 6 targets, but ugly day for Myles Gaskin. Don't use him, Jeff.
Yeah. I don't even have that option.
Good.
But yeah, he was one that I wouldn't. But Jalen Waddle, very interesting. I know a lot of people got him high hopes, very, very freaky athlete as far as how fast he is. It's very interesting now that they kind of realize, hey, we're not going to be able to get him down the field as much as we thought maybe. We're going to throw him a bunch of these little intermediate routes and see if he can't create for himself. He was doing a lot of stuff that I didn't expect him to do. And Tua looked a lot better than I thought he was going to look coming off the injury. So all of a sudden you kind of breathe some life into that offense. I do think there is some possibilities here now. If they keep that offense kind of humming or going completely throwing, because
just the passing offense.
Yeah, he did attempt 47 passes. So it wasn't it's not like a marquee day for Tua, but if they keep throwing it like this, Gesicki, Waddle, some of these other guys, when they get healthy again too, they might be able to be used. So it kind of opens up the playbook.
All right. How about we go Packers, Bears? Packers win 24-14. Aaron Rodgers, okay game. He gets the win, right? No, he didn't have to do a lot. So fantasy wise, it's not just some massive number, but 195 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he rushed for a touchdown.
Yeah,
that's all he needed to do.
I was
right?
gonna say 3 touchdowns will cover up a lot of yardage.
Yeah, it's just that's what all he had to do in that one. So just nice solid day. Aaron Jones, 13 carries, 76. AJ Dillon is definitely a factor these days. 11 carries, 59. He is for sure playing, and that is actually cutting into Aaron Jones a little bit now. I think it is starting to.
And it's kind of hidden because he did catch a touchdown.
Exactly. So he got 4 for 34, but so it's a little hidden there, right? But he's there. I mean, Aaron Jones is obviously still a top 10 option every week, but AJ Dillon just takes away just a little bit, not anything crazy. Devonte Adams, 4 for 89. That was almost bigger. He just barely stepped down on about the 22-yard line on a play. That would have been a touchdown. So that easily could have been a 4 for 111 and a touchdown. It looks totally different at that point. Just his foot is a couple inches to the left, and that's a massive day for him. So close. Not really much else other than that. I mean, Allen Lazard got a touchdown. It's kind of a little shovel pass, but Green Bay didn't have to do a lot in this one because the Bears offense right now is just not doing much with Fields out there. And I don't want to blame Fields really. I think Nagy just needs to go. I don't feel like they're using him right. I mean, hopefully Justin Fields needs to, I don't know. They need to use his athleticism a little more, but I don't know, but maybe he's overrated. I don't want to throw that say that yet, but it's possible that there's a reason he was the 4th quarterback taken, right? I mean,
I think it's a little column A, little column B. I do agree with you. I don't think they set him up for success,
right?
But they, he did run a little bit more this time around. 6 attempts for 43 yards. You're starting to see it. He's just not there, as a passer quite yet. And what quarterbacks, even though they looked really good in preseason, as the year wore on, none of them have really looked all that sharp, right? Trevor Lawrence, we're just seeing, he feels like he's coming around a little bit. Wilson is having a real tough time in the Jets.
Mack Jones has probably been the most solid of them.
And right now they're not doing anything crazy on the offense.
No, but he's not amazing. He's just,
So, I will give him a little bit of grace, but right now I was expecting to see a little bit more of him because he does have weapons, right? And players like Allen Robinson, who only had another, bummer of a game, 4 for 53 yards. That's it. You do have some real talent. Mooney, on the other hand, I will give him that.
Got that touchdown again.
Yeah, got a touchdown. Not a lot of yards. 5 catches, 45 yards. But it does seem like they're starting to build that rapport. So maybe there's some, upside there.
With Damian Williams out, you had Khalil Herbert with a solid outing there. 19 carries, 97 yards, a touchdown. Even if Williams is back next week, which most likely you would think he would be, if he's back, Herbert's going to be maybe still more involved than Williams, because we saw that last week when they both played. He was just as involved. Why won't he be? He's going to be worst case. It's a split. I think Herbert's going to get more action.
I do too.
Yeah.
he looked really good. They desperately need the run game. They can run the ball. I mean, we saw this with Montgomery and whoever else was in there. So as long as Herbert is getting the lion's share of it, he's going to be pretty good. And I'm lucky enough to have him. You know, you're trying to pick which running backs to have at the moment. Then the question becomes, when does Montgomery come back? Blah, blah, blah. So a lot of question marks and a lot of decisions being made. But later on, if you have Herbert right now, I say you roll with him.
Yep. All right. How about Bengals, Lions? Bengals win easily, 34-11. Lions go to 0-6. If you're a Lions fan, I still see too many people that are just like upset about this. Like, what were you expecting? Like, this is what we should have expected. This is what I expected. They're bad. They're not trying to be good. They're literally tanking right now. That's what they're doing. But I don't think there's a quarterback for them to get. But Jared Goff's, I mean, not the answer. We know that. But stop. If you're a Lions fan, stop worrying about this. Like, whatever. Like just lose. Like, this is fine. I mean, this is fine. They don't really have many of the players in the team right now that are going to be on the team if they ever become good. There's only a few of them. So just don't worry about this. But either way, Bengals, they just 2 years removed from having the number one pick, and look at them, 4-2. So it can happen. Burrow looked pretty solid in this one. The Lions will do that to you sometimes, make you look solid. 271 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had a pick. Joe Mixon, good day on the ground, 18 carries, 94 yards, caught 5 for 59 and a touchdown as well. On the receiving side, Jamar Chase, 4 catches, 97 yards, just keeps having, big catches, looking great there. I believe now I just saw a stat that he has the second most yards all time for a rookie receiver through 6 games. So he is on a great pace right now. I think Anquan Bolden might be the one that's ahead of him. Might be the only one that had more yards. He's ahead of Randy Moss by a few. So he's in, good company. Anquan Bolden was a great player for a long time, but Jamar Chase, I think, will be better than that. Even he's that good and he keeps doing it. Other than Chase, I guess Higgins kind of disappointed with the 3 for 44. If you're using Tyler Boyd at this point, don't. 1 for 7. And Chris Evans, the former Michigan player there, caught a touchdown, 3 for 49. He's now the backup to Mixon without P. Ryan out there. So, but solid day for Bengals.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I mean, yeah. The only
Jamar Chase is good.
yeah, very good. The only thing that was kind of funny about this game is there was 4 touchdowns thrown by Cincinnati, and it was just spread across the board. So, even if you had Mixon, he had a really nice game because he did catch one of those touchdowns. But everything else went to, one went to Chris Evans, one went to Uzama, and one went to Tate. So you're probably not playing any of those guys. So even though it looked like it was a blowout, which it was, fantasy didn't really calculate. On the Detroit end, just to finish up too, if you did play Hawkinson, 8 for 74, he had 11 targets. It's what you want to see. That's great. And then Deandre Swift
saves you with a touchdown.
Yep. 13 carries, only 24 yards, but he did get the touchdown.
Well, and part of this is they were, I feel like they were down a lot. This is probably the reason for the difference in the split between Swift and Williams. I kind of feel like, I don't know. I wouldn't bank on that kind of split and carries going forward. We just know how it's been. I mean, it'd be great I would love to see Swift get that many more carries than Williams. I just can't see that being a thing. And I know we talked about Amon-Ra St. Brown last week a little bit in waiver wire. I'm actually still encouraged by this. It was only 5 for 26. Maybe that doesn't look great, but 7 targets. 7 targets is still a solid number. So I believe he's had about 23 targets in the last 3 games. So just about 7 targets a game. That's what you're looking for some volume. So we'll see. This is just a bad game for them anyway. There's gonna be a lot of those. Don't get me wrong, but it's, with bye weeks again, you're going to be desperate sometimes. But all right, how about we go Colts Texans? Colts get an easy 31-3 win. This was no problem for them. Wentz 11 for 20 only. He only had to do that, but 223 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor was great, 14 for 145 and 2 touchdowns. They just beat up on the Texans here. T.Y. Hilton comes back, 4 catches, 80 yards, gets hurt. Does that surprise you? No. Paris Campbell, 1 for 51, a touchdown. Michael Pittman only gets 2 catches for 35 yards, but they only had 11 completions. They didn't have to do anything. So sometimes you might beat up on a team and the fantasy numbers aren't there because of it, except for Jonathan Taylor. But solid day for the Colts, pretty much. Jonathan Taylor's good. Yeah, that's about it. Jonathan Taylor's really good right now. Texans. I don't know. No, Brandon Cooks, actually. Okay, this is the beauty about Brandon Cooks. He hasn't been always great, but even in this one, they score 3 points, they get blown out. 9 catches, 89 yards. Right? You know, he's a good player on a bad team. That's pretty much what we got. And even Mark Ingram in this one, 18 carries, 73 yards. So Mark Ingram is that player you use when you are absolutely desperate, right? He's still there, though, as that option. The last 2 weeks, he's had a combined 34 carries in 2 weeks.
He gets plenty of carries, but I do believe this is I could be wrong on this one, but I do feel like this is the first time I've seen him average over 4 or even a
probably is.
clip.
Yeah,
it's been pretty rough going, but finally he got it. You know, and I don't want to see Mark Ingram go out like this. It's an ugly year for the ground game.
Bad team.
Yeah, they are pretty poor.
How about Rams, Giants? Rams get a 38-11 win. Matt Stafford played great. You know, I was thinking about this today a little bit, and you know, it's like you're right. The Lions had to rebuild, right? So you had to get rid of Stafford, right? That was the plan. Makes sense, right? You get some draft picks, but then I thought about it a little more. And I'm like,
how long the Rams are going to have?
But it's like, yeah. I'm like, but you're supposed to draft franchise quarterbacks and keep them for their career and be good with them. Like, they've actually made me quite sad when I finally, I hadn't thought about it that way in a long time. It made me sad. It's like, you're supposed to draft those guys and they stay there for their career and they win a title for you, not for the Rams. Oh,
yeah, it's rough.
Just like Verlander winning a title for Houston a couple years ago.
Scherzer winning it for what? Nationals. Man. I mean, there's a lot of, it's brutal, but we're rebuilding. But
Rams, here we go. Stafford, great. 251 yards, 4 touchdowns. But Cooper Kupp is ridiculous right now.
Yeah.
He's 9 for 132 touchdowns here. Killing
it. And once again, it's kind of interesting too, because Robert Woods did catch a touchdown. But once again, 2 for 31 and a touchdown. If you still have Robert Woods, I would be looking to trade because these touchdowns might be, they're covering it up a little bit. If you're just looking at points, you're kind of like, oh, he hasn't been all that bad. Mm-hmm. It does not feel like there's a lot there for him. So I'm still much on the try to deal him if you can.
Cooper Kupp is the main target there by far. Cooper Kupp, honestly, he's top 3 receiver for me the rest of the year. It's Devonte Adams, it's Tyreek Hill, it's Cooper Kupp. He's right there.
He's an easy top 5. I mean,
no. Yeah, he's right there. And Daryl Henderson, solid day for Daryl Henderson, 117 total yards and 2 touchdowns there. So
one receiving, 1 rushing. Yeah, he's looking really nice when he's out there and healthy.
Yep. All right, Giants though, Daniel Jones. If you play Daniel Jones, if you'd been streaming and put him in here, 242 yards, no touchdowns, 3 picks. Ugly. He didn't even get you anything on the ground like he had been at one point. 4 yards there. Devonte Booker was the main back in this one, 12 for 41. Shepard comes back, 10 catches, 76 yards. But the story here is Cadarius Tony with his ankle injury, which he came in nursing that ankle injury from last week. He comes in early in this game. First quarter, not even, halfway through the first quarter. He already has 3 targets. He already has 3 catches for 36 yards. It's looking like, wow, Kadarius Tony's going to go off again, right? Man, is this ankle going to linger? I'm worried about this.
I hope not, because he looked great again, and I was getting really excited. Mm-hmm. And then you immediately find out that he's exiting game early, and you're like, oh my gosh, again? Man, you just want to see what these young players
and you got to think,
I'm so sick of the injuries.
He was hurt in preseason in training camp a little bit. That's, I think, why he had such a slow start. But man, I hope he's not an injury-prone player here. That's just my worry.
Yeah, we'll find out more. I don't know that. Yeah, we'll find out. But man, the guy is good.
Yep. How about Chiefs, Washington? Chiefs win 31-13. Washington really disappointed in this one. Should have been a good matchup. Chiefs defense isn't good, but they didn't do much here. Mahomes 397, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. One of those picks is just, man, he was really, they got it going after this, but man, Mahomes is really making some bad decisions at times. And that's what happened on one of those 2 picks. I didn't see the other one, but one he was getting tackled and he just tried to make a play and he basically just threw the ball up in the air, just barely. It was an easiest pick I've seen. So Mahomes, I don't know, he's struggling a little bit in a way, but still 397, 2 touchdowns. That's great.
Yeah.
Part. For Mahomes though. I was
going to say, I would love to have a quarterback that struggled like Mahomes. Well, you get the 31-13.
Right? Daryl Williams got 21 carries in Edwards-Helaire's absence, only turned it into 62 yards, but it was 2 touchdowns. So hey, there we go. And actually he had a total of 89 total yards with his receiving. Kelsey 8 for 99, Hill 9 for 76 and a touchdown. Hardman 4 for 62. And then Demarcus Robinson also caught himself a touchdown. So Chiefs, got a good win here against Washington. Washington side, though, this was disappointing. Heineke was a streaming option for a lot of people this week, and he only gets 182 yards and a touchdown through a pick. Just all around disappointing. Antonio Gibson, 10 for 44. He was hurt and in and out of this game, I think, a little bit, to see what that's going to be going forward. McKissick, though, so if Gibson's hurt, McKissick looks like he steps up here. In this game, he had 110 total yards, 8 catches as well. Solid day for McKissick. Ricky Seals-Jones, that's a name I never thought would come back into be fantasy relevant, but Ricky Seals-Jones, 4 for 58, a touchdown. With Logan Thomas out, Ricky Seals-Jones is a tight end option to play.
Yeah, he's looking good out there, and they have done a good job of using the tight end. So, yeah, I absolutely think that he would be a streaming option.
Yep. Oh, and then McLaurin, disappointment, 4 for 28. He had 8 targets, though. So this is McLaurin the last 2 weeks. He has had a total of 8 catches for 74 yards the last 2 weeks. 8 catches, 74 yards. That's off 19 targets. It's a lot of targets for little production.
Yeah, you do have to love that, though. Once again, me and my thoughts on McLaurin. Very talented guy, but I didn't like the situation. But I will say that the targets alone make me still a believer that he's going to be productive at, when they get back on track. Yeah, if he wasn't getting targets, I'd be much more worried. But hey, a couple of down weeks on a team that's just okay, it's going to happen.
Yep. All right, how about we go Vikings, Carolina? This was an overtime game. Vikings win 34-28. Kirk Cousins, 373 yards, 3 touchdowns. A good one for Cousins here. Again, Cousins still becomes a good streaming option week to week, and once in a while you get these really good ones, right? So this is the good Vikings day, right? With Cousins playing there, Cook 29 carries, 140 yards and a touchdown. Matt, when Cook is healthy, Madison doesn't exist.
No,
he just does not exist when Cook is healthy. This shows me Cook is healthy. We're good.
Cook, yeah, and this is what my fellow Cook owners as well. It is so nice to finally see that him get that kind of workload, because that's what we've been waiting for all year, and he looked great doing it. 140 yards on the ground with the touchdown. That's amazing. So that was wonderful to see. The other one is the duo that we've all come to love is Jefferson and Thielen. And Thielen really showed out today as well. 11 catches, 126 yards and a touchdown. Jefferson 8 for 80, no touchdown. Osborne gets the other touchdown here, and he wins the game in OT with it.
Osborne's the interesting one. So he had the first 2 weeks of the season where he looked involved, looked good. And then people started picking him up, using him even a little bit. And then the last 3 weeks, he's done nothing. So we're like, all right, time to get rid of Osborne again. Look at this. He breathes new life into his season here with a solid day again.
If it didn't go into OT, though, his numbers would have looked bad again. So,
that's true. That's true.
A little bit of.
Sometimes you got to know context.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Next, we'll go Panther side, though, here. Oh, Darnold, just ugly today. 17-41.
He is back to looking like Darnold.
He is. That is for sure. He had a touchdown, a pick, but bad day for Sam Darnold. That's, but he got into overtime, but it was still just, he's Sam Darnold yet, right? Cuba Hubbard, 16 carries, 61 yards, and a touchdown on the ground. Now that we know McCaffrey's going to miss another 2 weeks as well, being on IR now. DJ Moore, 5 for 73, and that's about it. Robbie Anderson, he got a touchdown, but he had 3 catches for 11 yards. So, yeah.
However you get it done, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's playing him at this point.
No. How about Baltimore Chargers? This was I did not expect this kind of day today. Yeah, 34-6. Yeah, Ravens just won this one easily, beat up on them. No problem.
Just when you think that Justin Herbert can do no wrong and he's the automatic play, he has a stinker of a game. I was not prepared to see this. 195 yards, a TD, and an interception, and man. And they didn't get to try to run the ball either, because obviously it got out of hand pretty quickly. Yeah. So it was just a bad game all around. Keenan Allen, 5 for 50, Austin Eckler, 4 for 48. Mike Williams has finally had a bad game, 2 for 27. Jared Cook, the tight end, gets the lone touchdown. So if you were streaming him for whatever reason, you're probably happy. So, it's the quick rundown. I don't know. I don't expect this to be the ordinary thing, but they looked really bad today. And Baltimore, on the other hand, Yeah, it's kind of a funny one because how are you feeling about this? Because even though they scored a lot, it kind of reminds me of Cincinnati game where the touchdowns were spread out. So no one really looked awesome during fantasy.
The only one who had a solid fantasy day that you were using was Andrews, right? And it was 68 yards and a touchdown. It ended up being okay. Jackson, you look at Jackson's numbers, you're like 167 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. Ooh, like what happened? 8 for 51, but no touchdowns on the ground. Like, wow, they must have lost this thing, right? And he 34-6. Like, what happened? So, Devonta Freeman scored a touchdown. Le'Veon Bell scored a touchdown. Latavius Murray scored a touchdown. That was interesting, right? Just a weird day there, but they got an easy win. And Marquis Brown kind of disappointed, 4 for 35. But an interesting one is Rashad Bateman getting a chance to play for the first time coming off injury. 4 catches, 29 yards, 6 targets. So I like that. Actually, you don't expect people to just break out right away. Look up Tony. How many plays did he play before he did something? Bateman, no, that's a solid start, and I'm happy with that. Actually, it'd be someone to look forward to here.
I agree.
How about Cardinals, Browns? Cardinals win 37-14. Cardinals are definitely for real here. They beat up on a good Cleveland team at Cleveland as well. So solid day. Kyler Murray, 229 yards to the air, 4 touchdowns. Not much on the ground for him in this one, only 6 yards. James Conner led the way, 16 carries, 71 yards. Edmonds took a back seat in this one for sure. It was all James Conner and actually looked okay. AJ Green, 5 for 79, touchdown. Christian Kirk, 5 for 75 and a touchdown. Deandre Hopkins, only 3 for 55, but 2 touchdowns. So.
I know. I don't mind people trading Hopkins, but I'm actually kind of glad on this one because I feel like it's a little too much disrespecting the name. Like getting the most out of a player and trading him, even if it's good, no issue with that. But it felt like everyone was kind of like, he's over the hill. He's washed up. maybe his yardage won't be there this year, but he's still going to be productive. And it's great to see AJ Green too. I mean, it's kind of like the who's who of who's making the final curtain call at least for AJ Green.
Then for the Browns side here, Mayfield was 234, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Kareem Hunt. So Kareem Hunt comes in here without Nick Chubb. I'm thinking this is going to be just an awesome day, right? First time we get to see one player in this backfield. How great is this going to be? And it's 14 for 66. That's it. 14 carries, 66 yards, but they're losing, so they didn't have a chance. Receiving side of thing, Donovan Peoples-Jones leads away with 4 for 101 and 2 touchdowns. One of them though being a 57-yard Hail Mary. So
Hail Mary at the end of the half. The most ridiculous way to get points up on the board.
So it really boosts his numbers, which really, should have been like a 3 for 44 and a touchdown. But hey, he's still interesting. Odell Beckham, 5 for 79. It was becoming one of his better days, I guess. That's just crazy to say. He was hurt for a bit of it, but came back in. Yeah, interesting. We'll see what happens though, because Hunt left this one with an injury. So if he's hurt, if Chubb's still hurt, that backfield becomes interesting. Like,
either that or OBJ finally has the opportunity to step up. It'll be him and Peoples-Jones did have the numbers say he had a good game, and then we'll see what happens with Landry. Is he supposed to come back?
Yeah, at some point
coming off the IR now.
Yeah, he's probably. I don't know the latest update, but I feel like it's pretty close here.
Yeah, I think he's already past the 3-week. I'm pretty sure. So that will be interesting if they don't have the same run game that they usually do. I do think that the passing game will be a little more of where they go, but we'll find out.
How about Raiders, Broncos? Raiders win 34-24 in their first game without John Gruden. Derek Carr throws for 341, 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs runs the ball 16 times, 53 yards and a touchdown. Kenyon Drake also put a touchdown in there as well. Henry Ruggs, 3 for 97. Man, he's just a big play target. Love to see that. Bryan Edwards, 2 for 67. He just doesn't get much volume. I think he's a good player in a way. Like I see him play. It feels when I see Bryan Edwards catching the ball, I'm always like, man, this guy could be good. And just, it doesn't turn into volume, but it was good all around, right? For the most part, except Darren Waller, 5 for 59. So Darren Waller, I think he's only finished this so far, 6 weeks. He's only been a top 8 tight end in a single week one time. And that was week 1.
That was week 1. Yeah.
Yeah. Since week 1, he's not even been a top 8 tight end any of those games. I think I know it could turn around at any time, right? because we know he's talented, but you have 5 weeks now of just a pretty good sample size that he's not producing right now. I think you can still trade though Darren Waller name value. It's there, especially at tight end. But again, we talked about this last week. We'll probably talk about it on the mailbag show, I'm sure, coming up this week. I'm sure we'll have Darren Waller questions. We'll get into it more there, I guess. But man, I don't know. Maybe just ride it out, I guess. But it's kind of frustrating if you thought you had this, you thought you had like a Travis Kelce type, right? And you don't seem to.
Yeah. I mean, it has been rough. I'm on the bandwagon or the side that thinks he is going to turn it back around. You look at the targets right now, and it's kind of interesting. Usually teams usually throw a little more, right? They only attempted 27 passes.
Yep.
And it's very, very spread around. Like Ruggs had 4 targets, Bryan Edwards had 4, Waller had 5, Drake had 2, Hunter Renfrow had 5, and then there's a bunch of people with 1. So it was a very kind of evenly distributed game attack. And that's not really what you want, right? You want a lot more passing if you're going to get Waller a lot more touches. But right now, if they can control it by running it and they're 4-2, that's not going to happen. So, I mean, it's very different. Like the other side of this, which was Denver. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater threw the ball 49 times. Right. I mean, that's what happens when you're down, I guess. He had 3 touchdowns, also had 3 interceptions, 334 yards. And that, went to Noah Fant, Cortland Sutton, and Tim Patrick, all had a touchdown, making those guys very viable. But the rushing one is very interesting to me because it was pretty much split down the middle between Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. We keep wondering how this is going to play out, but 11 carries for Williams, 10 carries for Gordon, and they did almost the same thing, about 50 yards apiece. Did you see that shifting at all? And once again, they did have to pass a ton. So, the fact that they both got double digit is pretty good in a game that clearly had to come back in.
So the difference there between the two running backs is Javonte Williams had a 30-yard run in there to get to his 53. But I feel like that happens almost every week with Javonte Williams. He gets one of those bigger carries and his numbers end up being similar to Gordon's, but I really want Javonte Williams to get more opportunity here. I feel like if he got more opportunity, I think he's going to shine. On that 30-yard run, he hurdles the guy. Like, man, he's a good player. I really want to see him get that opportunity. And I'm hoping as the season progresses that he does. We've seen this with rookie running backs a lot. I mean, last year we saw it with Cam Akers, right? He was hurt at some point, but he wasn't getting like a great amount of work. And then all of a sudden he turned it on at the end. I want to see that with Javonte Williams. I just don't know if that's how it's going to play out, right? I don't know, because we also hoped that was going to happen with Deandre Swift last year with the Lions, that they're just going to use him all of a sudden. And it never quite played out either. But I feel like Javonte Williams has a bright future. I'm just not sure if it's going to be this season or not. I mean, he'll be good. I'm just not sure if it's going to have the full extent of what he could do yet this year. But I do like Javonte Williams a lot. I think he's going to be a good player for a bit here. All right, how about one more game here? Cowboys Patriots. Cowboys win this one in overtime, 35-29. Dak Prescott throws for 445 yards, 3 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb 9 for 149, 2 touchdowns. He ends the game with the touchdown in overtime. Amari Cooper struggling. He's not putting up big numbers at all right now. 5 for 55. Zeke on the ground was 17 for 69. He caught 7 for 50. So a lot of points there. So Trayvon Diggs gets himself his 7th pick of the year in 6 games. In that one, they gave the Cowboys the lead. And then the very next play, Mack Jones throws a 75-yard touchdown to Kendrick Bourne, who beats Trayvon Diggs for the touchdown. So I guess that's the Trayvon Diggs experience. The guy's ridiculous though with the interceptions. He just, I think, goes for interceptions and gets beat sometimes. But Cowboys, when they get in a shootout type game, they put up these kind of numbers, right? Dak puts up big numbers, but Amari's the one that's Amari, right? That's Amari Cooper. That's what we've known him to be for a long time.
Yeah. Yep. He'll be up and down, but you love to see this. And there are definitely, you have to love, if you're using Dalton Schultz right now, 5 catches for 79 yards. They're keeping him involved quite heavily. And even though this wasn't a run first game, Ezekiel Elliott still looked good because they were, incorporating him in the passing offense a lot. I mean, he had 9 targets himself. You got to love that.
Yep.
So there was a lot to like in Dallas, and really Dallas was, the only reason this was so close is because they kept shooting themselves in the foot. There was a goal line fumble by Prescott, and it was just one of those ridiculous games where you're like, is New England going to win this by default?
Well, so New England's not a bad 2-4 team. Honestly, they're not that bad for that record. They played close with some good teams, with the Bucs, with the Cowboys. But Mack Jones, 15 to 21, 229, 2 touchdowns and pick. He looks solid on, honestly. Damian Harris, though, looks good too. Okay. Yeah, 18 carries, 101 yards, a touchdown. Ramondre Stevenson got one of those in as well. Harris seems a little banged up. He's playing well, but he is a little banged up. But it looks like maybe if he was out, Stevenson will get a shot. But we'll see how that goes. Kendrick Bourne, like I said, had that one catch for 75 yards and a touchdown. Jacoby Myers, 5 for 44. Hunter Henry, only 2 for 25 in this one, but got himself a touchdown. So if you played him, you're feeling good.
Yeah, he's an interesting one. They keep going to him in the red zone. I would love to see him get more than 2 targets. That's a little worrisome.
Yep. No, definitely. All right, there we go. Week 6 in the books. Well, there's still one more. There's Steelers, Seahawks are playing as we speak in overtime, and there's got Monday night as well. But that'll be it for this one. We'll be back tomorrow with some waiver wire pickups for you. Talk to you guys then.